Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
And welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeff Malinoff, and with me, as always, is Mark Souza. We got a lot of things to talk about in the world of basketball, especially James Harden and the Houston Rockets. Well, Harden himself made some history in the Madison Square Garden Arena against the New York Knicks. But we also have news about LeBron James and his condition and whether he is going to be playing in the foreseeable future. And some other things that need to talk about in the world of the NBA the last 48 hours since our last basketball podcast we will talk about. But I think the first thing needs to be discussed. James Harden last night, 61 points, ties Kobe Bryant with the most.
You love James Harden, don't you?
I do like his stats.
You don't like him, though.
Why do you keep saying that? I'm mutual about him.
Because we all know that you're the president of the James Harden hate club.
First of all, I'm neutral about the guy. I like him. I see some flaws in him, and I see a lot of positives in him.
Wow.
So, anyways, I think he's I think he's a shoo-in for MVP now. I don't think there's any question about that.
Oh, wow.
I had Giannis, but after this, I was like, after this 21-game run he's had of over 30 points, I can't really say I have to take him out of that. So. Anyways,
it's like it pains you that you have to say that he's the
It doesn't
VP.
pain me.
That's why you're the president of the hate club.
I'm not like a Skip Bayless or a Stephen A. Smith. I don't like hate somebody.
You even told me that you're shaving every day from now on because you don't even want to be.
Dude, I have a beard right now. I have a scruffle.
You told me that you're going to start shaving every day because you don't want people to confuse you with James Harden. So
No, what? What are you talking about?
What do you guys kind of look like?
This is false. This is a
fake news.
Yeah, exactly. It's false information, and I could sue you for defamation right now.
I bet you won't.
Well, I need a lawyer, but I'm Jewish, so I can find one in my family somewhere.
Okay, see, if I made that joke, that'd be messed up.
But I'm Jewish, so
and
I think I do have a relative that's in the lawyer world, in the law business. Mm-hmm. Anyways, moving on. What was I saying? All right, James Harden.
Anyways,
James Harden, 61 points, ties Kobe.
I thought we were going to start talking about lawyers. Got me excited.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let me finish the damn... Okay.
Go ahead.
James Harden ties Kobe Bryant with the most points scored by an opponent team against the New York Knicks with 61 points. I believe that he could have had more, but whatever. They won this game 114-111. So it was actually still a close game, all things considered, because... honestly, there was only another 20-point performance on the Rockets, and that was Eric Gordon. So it was basically James Harden carrying the point load. He had over 50% of their point total. He had 53%.
Mm-hmm.
When you have over half your point total, your team's point total, that's insane.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to say it out loud, to be honest with you. It's almost like you're playing a video game.
Saying he had 53% of the...
It's almost like you're playing like NBA 2K19. You're like force-feeding one player. Like maybe you created a player.
In career mode,
You're like... You create your own guy, and you're like, all right, so I'm going to make myself an all-star.
Yeah, like in 2K, like in 2K18 or 2K19, you create yourself, and you're trying to be the MVP, so you gave yourself 40 points a game, like 10 assists a game, and all that good stuff. That's what Harden is doing, basically, in real life, which I didn't think was possible.
Well, anything's possible if you set your mind to it, right?
Yeah.
That was a silly cliche.
That was a very, very cliche thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put my mind to it, I can jump off an airplane, land on my head, and live.
You should try it.
Okay, I'll be right back.
That's the problem, is that you only get one shot at that.
If I mess up, I'm dead?
I mean,
I wake up, I'm like the smartest man in the universe.
Hey, what about the dude who jumped out of the plane without a parachute and landed in that net? He was the first person to do that, and he did it.
Yeah, but
that was insane.
It's not like fortunately he landed in a net, not on the ground.
Can you imagine though jumping out of an airplane and literally not having a parachute?
I would I would think I would faint in midair. I would just be a lifeless body.
It's one thing to have it and then not use it because like everything is going as planned, but
I'd still be
it's
scared
another
to do a flip.
Thing completely to not have one.
And hoping a net's gonna catch you, like you're like a baseball or a basketball. Because we're on the basketball
Swish.
podcast. It's a net. It is a swish. There's no. Oh god, if there's a rim,
the guy.
What if there's a rim on that net?
You know what he should have done when he hit the net? When the skydiver hit the net,
They should have had.
He should have just had his hand up, like he just nailed the three.
Or Harden's like cooking cook motion.
Yeah, the cooking Harden dance.
Can you imagine if there was a rim on that net he was falling on? Gosh,
if he would have done that, that dude would have been even more of a hero.
He was hoping to God it would be a swoosh. If it wasn't, he'd be dead.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Harden, 61 points. Obviously, the front runner for the, I was going to say Hall of Fame for a second, but for the MVP, which very well could be a Hall of Famer someday. But let me ask you, do you think he needs an NBA championship to solidify a Hall of Fame career?
Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, assuming that he has a couple more good seasons.
Mm-hmm. I was just curious on that mark.
He's won an MVP.
Do you think just winning an MVP gets you a Hall of Famer?
Well, winning an MVP plus having a really good career does. How many All-Star games he made? Like
every single
6,
year,
7?
basically.
Like I don't,
The last like 5-6 years.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I think even if his career ended today, like I got to feel like he would be an All-Star.
But again,
or he would be a Hall of Famer. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just asking if that was a big factor.
This is insane, though. What he's doing right now, like 21 straight
no
games,
one's done
30
this.
points.
No one's done this.
No
one's been this dominant.
Some people talk bad about him, some co-hosts, but I think what he's doing is pretty good.
I just agreed with you. Why are you calling me out like this?
All right. I'm just messing with you, man. God. I know that you don't like him, though.
I don't like.
You just said it.
I don't.
You just said it.
I said I don't not like him.
No, you said I don't like. There's a Freudian slip.
I have to be playing devil's advocate in some of these podcasts. All right.
All right.
It's not.
I'm with you.
I am.
That's
not,
true. You have
I
to.
am not anti-Harden.
Okay.
I am neutral Harden.
Okay.
I'm not going to play favorites, but I do say he's MVP right now.
So the fact of the matter is, the Rockets.
Yeah.
They're winning games right now because obviously Harden's going crazy.
So, when they have the joke of like Russell Westbrook with the backpack and he's like, oh, I'm carrying my team in this? That's Harden right now.
You know what's crazy? They're only 5-5 in their last 10.
It's because his
they're
supporting
barely
cast is
staying afloat with Harden doing this.
Well, the thing is, their supporting cast is not really supporting him.
They only played 8 players last night. Only 8. Kenneth Faried, they just picked him up. He's all of a sudden a starter, all of a sudden playing quality minutes for him because they need him.
They need Chris Paul back desperately. I know he won't be like what he used to be because he's so injury prone. He might not be back for a long period of time. They just need anything.
They just need someone else where Harden can like leave the court for 10 minutes and like he's playing. Harden's playing like 40 minutes a night. They need someone that can run the offense for 15 minutes a night, and that should be Chris Paul.
He has great endurance, no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
about it, is that an Anthony Davis pun?
Clever. But there is a limit to everyone's stamina, to everyone's endurance, and he's going to hit that soon. Or maybe not soon, but at one point, because that's just human nature, and you got to help the guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think most people's stance out there, I don't think this is like a me idea. I think this is like I'm kind of speaking for you and for everybody else. We're wondering how far can this go, right? Like we're wondering how much does Harden have in the tank? Will it be he will get them to the playoffs playing like this? I mean, obviously we don't expect him to score 30 for the rest of the season, but like let's just say he is on this crazy tear throughout the regular season. But then is he going to tail off in the playoffs like he did last year? Or Will he be able to
That
push through it this year,
is
or
the most important question by far?
Or will he not be able to get through the regular season this year? Because I don't think even last year he was doing this. Like, I don't think even last year he was exuding this much endurance on a nightly basis. I don't know if his body's going to be able to do it the whole...
So are you saying he's going to burn out before even the playoffs?
I would bet that. Yeah.
I don't blame you. It's a safe bet because of the fact, like, even when he does make it to the playoffs, he's going to be exhausted by, May?
And I know that you say they need Paul back, but even if they get him back, do we really think that Harden's going to play
No.
like how much less endurance, like how much less stamina is he going to use every night? Like, it's pretty much going to be, if he's at 100% right now each night, with Paul back, he might be at 95.
With all the talk about Kyrie Irving saying he might not be a Celtic for long, the Rockets getting him would help out tremendously for the load of Harden.
Kyrie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because, they're talking about, like, is he going to stay at Boston
The problem
Celtic
is Kyrie going to go to another place where he's going to be the second fiddle? Because if he goes to Houston, he's the second fiddle. We all know that he didn't want to be LeBron's second fiddle.
Well, that phone call to apologize kind of made me feel like maybe he does not want the whole load of being a leader. He wants to be second. Doesn't it? Doesn't that give you that feeling?
I don't know.
Because he called him saying, I now know what it feels like to be a leader. It sounds like he's getting overwhelmed by it. You don't get that feeling?
Well, I mean, I think he was calling to say, like, he was sorry, or calling to say, like, I realized some things. But I don't know if that phone call really necessarily means that he doesn't want to be the leader. Like, I don't know if that means I don't want to have my own team.
If Kyrie does leave Boston, we will, and wherever he goes, we'll see if we're right or wrong.
If he leaves Boston, I still think he'll go somewhere where he's going to be the alpha. He'll be the alpha.
But if he goes somewhere where he's not, that is still a possibility. I'm not going to rule that out yet.
Yeah.
It's still, he can go anywhere. Let's just be real. But wherever he goes will solidify where he thinks he should be as in a role situation with a team.
Mm-hmm.
If he stays with the Celtics, he'll still want to be the guy. He still wants to be the leader. He still wants to be the face of the franchise. But if he leaves and goes to, like we said, Houston or not LA, because I
don't even know if Houston can afford him. Like, I don't even think that they have the room.
I mean, if they got rid of Paul.
Yeah, but you'd have to find a trade partner. Like, you'd have to...
You don't think someone would trade for Paul?
I mean, the dude is, like, injury prone. He's older. He doesn't get along with a lot of people. Like, he's kind of a pain.
He is.
He's kind of pain in the butt, right? Like,
yeah,
he's just kind
absolutely.
of like... He's hurt all the time.
But you don't think
he rubs people the wrong way. He's going to go to a team and want the ball all the time, and you might already have a better player than him. You should have a better player than him. If you don't, that would be a problem in itself.
Well, hear me out. Like, what if a team like Dallas needs a point guard in that kind of situation in his nature? They couldn't utilize him?
That would be an interesting spot. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of, like, a veteran kind of role, because he'd be a good veteran for, like, I know Nowitzki's there, but I don't know how long he's going to be there.
The problem is, though, if you're the Rockets, don't you want to add somebody to Paul and Harden instead of subtract Paul?
Well, I mean, what does Paul really bring to the table now?
I mean, he's still a guy that gets like 15, 5, and 5. I mean, he's a starting point guard. I don't know. Like, he's still good. He's just hurt, and he's kind of hard to deal with.
They said he's going to be back by the end of this week, and I'm still having my doubts about that.
Mm-hmm.
Major doubts, actually.
But, I mean, he still has played most of the season, right? So we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. We'll see. It is interesting, though, because the trade deadline is coming up, at least for the midseason trade deadline. So will the Rockets look to make a move? If so, what can they make? I have no clue what they can even acquire at this moment in time. It sounds like they're ready to give up the future. I mean, look at what they offered for Jimmy Butler. It was reported that they offered 4 first-round picks. If they're willing to offer 4 first-round picks for Jimmy Butler, not that he's not good, that tells me we're in the win-now mode.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to win today and tomorrow, not 4 years from now.
We're not going to put Harden's performances to waste. I think that's one of the key figures in that. No?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like Harden can still do this for another couple of years, in all honesty. But I think they want to win one while they still have Paul as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure really what the thought is, but they are risking their future. They did risk their future for Jimmy Butler. So a guy like, well, there was also talk about Kemba Walker being traded, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. If they offer those 4 first-round draft picks, I'm pretty sure Charlotte would take that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I don't know.
What do you get?
I don't know, man. Anyways, the Rockets just keep letting Harden help them win games. They win 114-110 last night. We didn't really talk about last night's game other than the 61, but they barely held on.
There
to
really
beat the
wasn't
Knicks.
anything else about
How do you score
that
61 and your team like scrapes
wins
a win?
by just 4? You tell me, because that's wrong. That, you know what I mean? That should not be
what, Jeff?
I'm just stuttering now. I have a problem. But remember when Kobe scored 81? His team only scored like 110 points.
Yeah, it was like 120, I think.
Yeah, something very small.
He scored 80. They scored like 45 or something like that.
And in this game, they only had 114. So the games that we see games now usually go to 140 and 130. Can we see Harden break the 100-point streak by Will Chamberlain?
No.
You don't see it?
No. That'll never be broken until... I don't even know if that'll ever be broken, but it would probably require a 4-point line.
But I had to ask the question because of the fact he's getting such a points, and the scores are getting higher and higher and higher.
If you think about it, even
continues.
Kobe was far off from it. Like, Kobe still would have to make, like,
points.
8 more shots, assuming some of them are threes.
But what I'm saying is, like, the scores are getting much more and more higher.
That is true. You have a good point
That's
there.
why I bring it up. Because 140 doesn't seem like that's
but also,
so far away.
Wilt Chamberlain did it, right?
Yes.
How tall is Wilt Chamberlain?
7 feet, roughly.
And like the average height of the NBA player back then was like what,
6'9".
Back then was shorter. It was like 6'3", I think 6'4".
Well, I'm saying like center. His position, I would say, is like.
But he was
6'11".
bigger than everybody. Wilt Chamberlain was bigger than everybody.
Yeah, and it was unfair. It was absolutely unfair.
So Wilt Chamberlain benefits from playing against a different era, right? Like today's NBA, who's the best athlete? LeBron?
Yeah.
But, like, there's other guys that are close.
Like, Harden might be the best player in the NBA, but I don't think he's the best athlete in the NBA.
But, like, Wilt was easily the best athlete of his time. Like, there was no question. But, like, LeBron, even, let's say LeBron's the best athlete. What about Giannis? He could be the best athlete.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, there's other guys that are kind of, like, in the mix, right? Like, Kevin Durant. Maybe he's the best athlete. He's not as strong, but look how lean he is. Look how quick he is. He can jump. Look at his long arms. You know, like... He's a tarantula. That's the best nickname, man. He has the best nicknames. I don't care if you don't like Kevin Durant. Tarantula and Slim Reaper are the best nicknames in basketball.
Yeah. He does look really slim compared to a lot of guys.
He is the skinniest person I've ever seen. He's the skinniest.
You just hurt his feelings.
Let me rephrase this. He's the skinniest, healthiest human being I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. I love that we've talked about in the past how sensitive NBA players have been and how sensitive Kevin Durant has been, and you just called him the skinniest person you've ever seen in your life. Like, talk about throwing out the window of that one. Throwing that sensitivity out the window is what I meant. That's what I said. Mm-hmm. Those words made sense.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go to a break. When we come back.
Okay.
Let's talk about Oladipo, man. Some bad news.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing.
We'll talk about the other games, like the Jazz Nuggets had a little bit of a temper tantrum on the court last night between both teams. We'll talk about Enes Kanter not being happy. I wouldn't be either. How about the Spurs loss and an interesting late game benching? And LeBron...
we'll say just late game time decision.
LeBron's not ready to return. We'll tell you when and why. And also, I don't know if we talked about Conley and Gasol just yet. Did we talk about Conley and Gasol in the last
No, we haven't.
podcast?
No, wait. Yes, we have.
Did we? Okay. Well, maybe we'll revisit that. But either way, we'll also... Look, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of big, fun, entertaining basketball matchups this weekend. I'll talk to you about them. I have about 10 listed that people will be interested in. We'll do that when we return.
Wow, okay.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Oh, thank God we don't have to actually play that. Honest, if you get that out of your phone, I swear to God.
I'll do it.
Don't do it, please.
I'll hold you hostage.
Stop it. Anyways, let's move on to NBA, more NBA stuff. Let's. What did you want to talk about first?
Let's talk shooty baskets.
Excuse me?
They should rename basketball to shooty baskets.
Why?
Because you shoot baskets.
Welcome to the Shooty Baskets Association, the National Shooty Baskets Association.
There you go.
What would that be? The NSH or S?
The NSBA.
A. NSBAA.
Oh yeah,
of America.
All right. No more BS. All right. Let's talk about Jazz Nuggets.
Fight!
The Jazz get the win. First off, that's big time for them because the Utah Jazz have a very, very favorable schedule heading into the rest of the season. The Nuggets were one of only a handful of tough matchups left for the Jazz, and they win. That's a big deal. But beyond the win, and I know it's sad that we're talking about something other than the actual game itself, but a little bit of Tempers, Favors, and Mason Plumlee. Yeah, Derek Favors and Mason Plumlee.
Well, the thing is, so this is how it went down. Plumlee gave him a little bit... Oh, you got
the inside scoop of how it went down?
Well,
you sounded real, matter of fact. This is what really happened. Go ahead.
Plumlee went with a little bit of an elbow push, get out of my way. Can you let me finish?
Sorry, but Favors was the elbower in this conversation, in this story.
Yeah, so Plumlee gives him a little move, get out of my way after a foul, and then, Favors gets a little offended, and almost he throws his arm, he grabs his arm and tries to throw him into the crowd, it feels like just out of my way, and then Plumlee retaliates, obviously, and gets in his face, and then Favors pushes him, and then Plumlee goes for his throat. Do you see him grab his throat?
Plumlee,
it was the Undertaker going for a choke slam.
I don't know what was said, but
then hit him with the tombstone. He probably counter into a sweet chin music and maybe go from an elbow drop. Maybe go into try to a people's elbow. He'll sit up and then hit him with the tombstone again, and then he'll kick out and be like, "Oh man, what are you gonna do next?" And then they hit him with the pedigree, and then the tombstone again, and then
no more wrestling talk. Anyways, I am very interested to know what Favor said because it looked like it was starting to die down a little bit. And then Plumlee lost his mind.
Well, as after the push, he lost his mind.
No. But they got separated a little bit. Then Plumlee freaked out. So I think something was said that just pushed him over.
He called him
edge.
a plum. He's like, I was always plum. Called the plum as a kid.
He probably called him another word that started with a P.
Let's not go there.
Yeah,
he
probably called him some other words that started with some other letters too. But he said something to him, man. You've watched the video a couple times?
Yeah, I can watch it over and over.
It looked like the referee and some players had gotten in the way, and then Plumlee was like, no, this isn't over. So, I don't know, man. I think something was said that rubbed him the wrong way, if you know what I mean. So, what are we going to see happen? I don't know. Probably a suspension, maybe a game. I don't know.
I would say 1 or 2.
The bigger issue is Jokic came off the bench. He stepped onto the court. Now it's up to the league to determine if they're going to suspend Jokic.
I hate that rule. Can I vent about that rule?
Oh, yeah.
I understand if he gets involved in the scuffle, like tries to go after, push some guys, that's one thing. If he steps onto the court a little bit and gets suspended, that's wrong. He has not affected the situation in any way, shape, or form. Why should he be suspended? Is there a reason to be suspended over that?
I mean,
that has affected playoff games.
It's one of those things where it's like, do you follow the letter of the law or do you follow the spirit of the law? Because if you follow the letter of the law, I think Jokic is going to get suspended. If you follow the spirit of the rule, which is we don't want a massive brawl starting because 2 or 3 guys on the court are upset, Jokic didn't do anything to cause, inflame, or any part of the situation, right? Like, you'd agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't do, like, he stepped onto the court and came right back.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. There's no reason to
He realized his mistake, is what we're saying. So, like, in the spirit of the rule, he should not be suspended. In the letter of the rule, he will be suspended.
It's not right, is what I'm saying. It needs to be changed.
Well, we'll see what the NBA does. They haven't done anything yet, so I'm willing to give them
a chance.
I'm willing to, let's see how it plays out. What if they say we'll fine him $5,000 or something like that? I'd be okay with that. Like I think that's fair.
Because I have seen when I remember back in I think it was 2005, the Suns played the Spurs, and Robert Horry, remember him, gave Steve Nash a pretty nasty tackle in Game 3 or 4, and so some guys came off.
Robert Horry.
Yeah,
I know that name.
Yeah, I do too. Trust me. And.
Big shot, Bob.
Let's just not talk about that. Anyways, so he gave him a nasty elbow and hit him onto the scoreboard, the score sheet, like where the guys are. And I think Stoudemire and a couple other key players came off the bench, started walking towards him, like checking on their teammate, like not even throwing punches or anything, just checking. And they got suspended for a crucial game. Either it was Game 5 or Game 6, something like that. And they lost the series because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So why suspend these players for a reason that they were not in any altercation whatsoever? They did not cause any fights. They were checking on a teammate that fell right next to them. They just walked on the court around their coaches to get to them. So why should that have been suspension? That shouldn't have been suspension. This should not be a suspension walking onto the court ever, unless they are immediately affecting the situation. They should not be suspended.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many times have we seen NFL players go off onto the field and not be suspended? Or baseball when they clear the benches, you know?
Right.
There's no.
Imagine if they did that in baseball.
We would have a game with no one. We would have forfeits.
It'd be someone's AAA team against another AAA
exactly.
team.
It's not. It's yeah. And I'm sorry, but this is wrong. Should not be a suspension. If they do, that is the most.
It'd be the Albuquerque Isotopes playing in the major leagues.
Yeah. And if Jokic is suspended, I will not be happy, and I will think the NBA front offices should be ashamed of themselves.
You're going to write a letter?
I think the commissioner, Adam Silver, will be ashamed of it.
It sounded funny when you said it.
I know. I did.
You're like, I will not be happy, and I will speak to your manager.
I don't know how else I was going to say that. I was going to say, I hope that there's like a petition signed like the Saints are doing right now or something like that.
Will you ask to speak to the manager?
Yes. I would ask to speak to the commissioner.
Excuse me,
Adam
can I
Silver,
speak to the manager?
Are you like, if Adam Silver was in a press conference about this, I would call his ass out. I'd be like, or I would pay someone. I would pay someone to call his ass out.
Oh my god!
I'd be like, you know what? You're part of like NBC News. Can you just like say
what is happening right now?
You should change the rules. I hate this rule. This rule.
Apparently,
This is one of the rules I hate more than any other rule in sports.
All right.
It's a stupid, pathetic rule.
All right, we good?
Yes.
All right. I agree. It's a stupid rule. I just said it in less time than you. But I understand. I get emotional,
I totally wasn't trying to waste time or anything.
Anyways, why don't we talk about Enes Kanter?
Yes.
Got a DNP last night.
And
apparently he didn't play for the Knicks because the game plan was to stop Harden. That game plan did not go well, apparently. 61 points.
I mean, he could have gotten 90 for all we know.
I just love how the coach's response is he didn't play because he didn't fit the defensive game plan. Oh, really, coach? Because that defensive game plan just went swell, didn't it?
Can I call...
Maybe the game plan was the problem?
There's 2 letters I say to that. BS.
Maybe the game plan wasn't good. Have you ever considered? Have you ever considered
Are you
changing
kidding
the
me?
game plan? Do you think that Fizdale during the game was like, this ain't working? We got to try something else. No, he's like, no, Cantor can't get on the court.
Yeah, like let's just let Harden have the game of his life.
Oh my God!
Come on, man.
How do you say?
Just
how do
be
you,
honest with us.
How do you?
Don't
Yeah,
like Cantor.
seriously. How do you, with a straight face, say, well, we thought we were going to defend him this way? Okay, but like, when the dude has like 45 points, do you think you just kind of scrap Plan A?
And isn't Enes Kanter, I don't know, one of your better defenders?
Yeah, I don't know if he's a good defender or not, but he can at least score. Like, he's at least a better player than who you have
well,
in.
he would have been at least a help on defense compared to everybody else.
Yeah, let's put it this way: Enes Kanter wouldn't have gotten
okay.
Harden more points.
And I'm saying like he's not a better defender as in he's an elite defender. I'm saying the fact that your team is so bad that he would have been a benefactor on defense.
I understand though the Knicks are trying to trade Kanter, so I see the point. Like not.
I feel like
playing
that
him.
should have been done already.
But I understand.
I heard they were in negotiations with multiple teams.
I understand the point is we don't want him to get hurt. We're not going to play him. I get that. Just say it. Just be honest. Like,
Talk to us.
Why are we saying he didn't fit the game plan tonight?
Safe space. It's a safe space. We're your friends here.
Like, why are we playing this game where, the game plan was Enes Kanter can't get on the court, but Noah Vonleh can? Like, come on, man. I'm not an idiot.
I'm sorry. That made me laugh.
I'm not like, well, you're just making everybody sound like, you're making everybody, like, do you think everybody in the room is dumb when you tell this to reporters? Like,
They really insult our intelligence sometimes.
do
don't
they, like,
No, coaches and owners really insult our intelligence sometimes. Like,
like,
not just
say the truth.
Not just journalists, not just like podcasters or anything. Just people or fans in general. They really underestimate. They really
just tell the
insult
truth, be
their
like, we're trying to trade him, we don't want to get him hurt and lose his trade value. Okay, move on.
No one would have an issue with that.
Now, Kanter, of course, is upset because he says, play me or get me out of here. And I agree with him. Play him or get him out of there.
And I think they're trying to get him out of there. But just be honest with us. Would anyone have an issue if he said, okay, we're benching him because we're looking for a trade offer and we want him healthy? Would anyone care? Or not care? Would anyone be bothered by that?
I mean, I feel like Kanter would, if the Knicks were like, hey, we're not playing you for the next 2 weeks, we're going to try and trade you, so go home. I think he'd be actually happier with that than sitting on a bench and not getting in the game and wondering if he's ever going to play. I know I would be.
Do you get paid if you get that to sit at
Yeah.
home?
I mean, he's getting paid no matter what. They can,
Okay, I'm just making sure.
They can waive him, he's getting paid. Like, they're just trying to get rid of him and not get financially hit by it. So.
I was just curious if that would have affected anything because it was like, is there an appearance on his contract or something like that?
Well, I mean, if he refuses to play, he's not going to get
paid. But if they
paid.
ask him to leave,
Yeah, but if they
that's
just say, hey, we're not going to play you, like we're trying to be respectful to you and to us, I think that's the best way
what
to
do
go
you think
about
they're
it.
going to ask for? What do you think they can get?
They're
for
not
him?
going to get much from him because it's an expiring contract.
Speak of the devil. Ruptured quad tendon in Victor Oladipo.
Out for the season.
He's done for the year.
That might be a longer injury, too.
Ruptured quad tendon.
That doesn't
sound
sound
good at all. I just got the update now.
That
That's
sounds...
why should we change gears here to him?
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, we should. Oladipo, getting hurt last night.
Sounds like
we
you
should have
already
already
went-
talked about this. We missed it. But Oladipo getting injured, yeah, that's going to affect the Pacers. He's probably their best player. He's been a great addition. I know they had to trade George, but at least Oladipo was a nice player to get back.
He was a huge addition to that. He was the face of that Pacers team that's been playing extremely well. That's why this hurts more than anything.
The Pacers are 32-15, but man, you got to think like this injury is probably going to hurt them the rest of the year. Maybe they get the fourth.
I've never
or fifth
heard of
seed.
a ruptured quad tendon before. Have you?
That doesn't sound like something I want my.
I've heard of a torn quad, but a rupture sounds a little more serious than a tear, right?
I think it's the same thing, but a tear is a ligament and a rupture is a tendon. If that makes sense.
I
I don't know if you can tear a tendon. I think you can rupture it, like because you rupture your Achilles tendon. You don't tear your Achilles.
But isn't a tendon more crucial than a ligament?
I don't know about the quad tendon because I don't know if I've ever heard of this injury before.
I've never heard of this injury. I've heard of
probably
a quad
happened,
tear.
but it's very.
Yeah.
It's like an ACL is like the one thing we always think. Like last night, everybody thought it was an ACL injury that he suffered,
or an MCL or something.
Yeah, an MCL and ACL.
part of the knee, not the upper thigh.
That is weird.
But like you said, I've heard of a quad tear. I've never heard of a quad tendon rupture.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you had to do something pretty serious to do that if we haven't heard about it before. Mm-hmm. So obviously they said his surgery is to be determined at a later date. So we just hope for the best for him. Just make sure he can. There's been some serious issues with surgeries recently with professional athletes and infections. So hopefully he gets a good surgery and no problems.
Yeah, that's a tough injury though. That really hurts the Pacers. Pacers right now are 32 and 15. Yeah. They're in third.
This really puts them in a very scary situation, not just for the health of Oladipo, but for their playoff hopes, because they are not going to stay in third for long without him, in my opinion. And with the 76ers right behind them and the Boston Celtics right behind them, I can see them dropping down to fifth by end season. And by that point, who knows if they're going to make it past the first round.
And then by that point, you're looking at either playing Boston or Philadelphia on the road in round one instead of playing Brooklyn at home in round one, which is a big difference.
Yeah. Home court advantage is crucial, especially in these situations.
Home court against a lesser team or road team against a better team. That's a big difference.
Yeah, Boston or if you had to take Philadelphia, I feel like Philly's going to sweep them.
So, anyways, good transition. Philadelphia, the Spurs lost to the Sixers last night. The Spurs were down 2, had 1 possession left, and Popovich actually benched DeMar DeRozan because he says they weren't playing for the tie; they were playing for the win. So, even though they were down 2, they wanted to hit a 3. They did not have any excitement about possibly going to overtime. They wanted to either win or lose the game in regulation, which makes sense. But are you surprised that DeRozan was not on the court, even though they were only down 2?
I do, because of the fact that he could have we talked about this on the sports podcast. You wanted to turn on that, but he could have been an easy distraction because everyone would have thought he would have gotten the ball because he was leading his team in points. He had 26 points. So why not at least pretend or fake
decoy,
the fact that
right?
yeah, exactly, decoy.
Run him off a screen, and then maybe you get everybody's attention. Then you pop somebody out for a 3.
Also, Popovich is one of the more smarter coaches, maybe the smartest coach in the NBA, and that maybe this is an example to say, hey, DeRozan, work on your threes, or else we can't use you in clutch situations.
Yeah. Instead, though. San Antonio didn't even get a shot off as Rudy Gay's inbound pass to Bellinelli was tipped away, and then the ball just kind of bounced harmlessly away in the final 1.5 seconds ticked off. So Philadelphia got the win. The Philadelphia 76ers, we just talked about the Pacers, how they have a big loss in Oladipo, but, man, Philadelphia, even without Jimmy Butler, they've been playing really good basketball, 7-3 in their last 10. They win another good game. They're just looking like a more confident team and a better team. Maybe they're a team that can challenge Milwaukee or Toronto in the East. What do you think?
Yes, I do believe so.
My opinion of them has changed a little bit lately because they've been playing better.
Yeah, they've been improving. Mm-hmm. And when you improve later in the season, you're going to have more advantage. You're going to have more momentum going into the playoffs, and that is crucial.
32 and 17 now for Philadelphia. They're 3.5 games back.
Do you remember when they used to be the laughingstock in the NBA? It didn't feel like that was too long ago, was it?
Trust the process, my friend.
I mean, everyone thought that was just a gag, but in reality,
trust the process. The process is Joel Embiid. I love that nickname for him.
The process? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great nickname. It's kind of like the answer. Mm-hmm. In Allen Iverson,
because Joel Embiid is the epitome of that whole tanking for 5 years.
He was he was the key draft pick.
They did miss on some of those picks. Jahlil
Okafor was supposed to be what Embiid is now.
Nerlens Noel
was supposed to be his secondary.
Didn't they get a
and now where are they?
Michael Carter Williams, wasn't he there too?
Maybe I don't remember him.
I feel like
I thought he went to Charlotte. Or was that someone else? Was that Pope?
He played for Charlotte. I'm trying to remember. Maybe he was traded to...
Regardless, Okafor was supposed to be the guy, and Noel was supposed to be a second in command, and then it was Embiid, and Noel was supposed to be a second in command, and now the two of them are gone, and now it's just Embiid with Butler.
Oh, he was drafted 11th overall by the Sixers.
Oh, okay.
2013. So,
obviously a failed experiment.
We should go to a break, come back. We'll talk about LeBron. We'll talk about Conley and Gasol. And we will wrap this thing up with telling you about the upcoming games this weekend. I wasn't lying when I said we had some juicy matchups, some interesting matchups coming up for your viewing pleasure, especially now that there is no NFL this weekend, only the Pro Bowl, but we all know that these basketball matchups are on TV now on the weekends on ESPN. It's awesome to see some of these games on the weekends.
Spotlight.
Now. Yeah, it's great. So we'll talk about that when we return.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We are on the final stretch here. We just finished talking about the 76ers, the Spurs, Oladipo's career-ending injury, season-ending injury.
I mean, it might be a career-affecting injury.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't want to say that, but it's true.
We're just hoping for the best for him right now. That's all we can do.
Yeah, definitely.
And
he's had such a good season, man.
It's so it's just disappointing as a fan to see a guy with like so much momentum and such a valuable part of a team just to go down like that, because that really just sinks the team. That's going to affect the team in the long run. But anyways, we have to move on. We have a lot of games this weekend. But first
we got to talk about LeBron.
Yes, LeBron is actually doing some drills in practice recently, and I don't know if that means he's playing soon or he's just working on his knee, but I don't. Again, he's one of those guys. He's going to take his time with this. So, what do you think?
I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast before. I still think that he's not going to play for a while. In fact, I would
say after the All-Star break.
I think I think it goes to the All-Star, because I think if they're close, why would you bring him back? Like, if he doesn't play next week, then why would you play him the week of the All-Star break? You know what I mean?
True,
like, you might as well just sit him out, right?
Better be safe than sorry.
Absolutely, because there's no point in. You should just give it. You should use the All-Star break as that extra rest, right?
Yeah,
like you're not missing games.
And of course, after the All-Star break is one of the most is the crucial part of the season as well. I know I'm speaking obvious, but
so he hasn't played in a month. This is 4 weeks. I'm fairly positive that it was not a groin strain.
I'm pretty sure it was a tear.
Yeah,
or a minor
positive
tear.
that when they told us that it was just a strain, that was wrong.
Yes.
He has not participated in team drills.
Do you think he had surgery on the down low?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
I think
that would be hard to. I think that would be hard to hide. If he had
true.
surgery, look, everybody knows who
it's
LeBron
LA,
James
after
is.
all.
If you go have surgery and you're LeBron James, someone's gonna know. I'm just saying.
But I'm just trying to figure this out. Like, if it is a tear, don't you need surgery for that, or is it not necessarily?
I would think a complete tear, yes, but
it was probably a minor.
That if it's a minor tear, it's probably like some other injuries where you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like some knee ligaments, you don't have to.
Well, obviously, we both agree it's more serious groin injury than they are saying.
Although Rondo had to have surgery on his finger for a torn ligament, so.
Yeah,
but it's a different.
And
area.
also, and LeBron was saying his knee was hurting, was sore as well, or something of that nature, and like just his whole leg is just sounds like it needs just a little more time.
So the Lakers are 5-9 without James, so they're obviously wanting him back sooner than later. But at the same time, they're still right there. Like they're still easily a playoff team when he comes back. I don't think it's time to panic just yet. But it is interesting that James has participated in drills, but has not experienced a full contact practice. He has not experienced a full contact practice. He hasn't practiced since he's been injured with the team. He just does drills.
Do you think it's just because he's worried about his age and his body breaking down on him?
I just think that's a sign, like, he's not ready to play. Like, don't you need him to play in practice because he needs to get some legs under him first off. But, like,
Yeah.
how do you know if
to
he...
heal, you need to work. You need to do stuff you're going to do on the court.
Like, it was just the other day, I think it was 3 or 4 days ago, where they said LeBron hasn't participated in any of the up-down type of stuff, so no jumping, which is like, well,
That's
what
a
are
serious
you doing?
concern.
Yeah.
Because if it was just a strain, you should have been jumping 2 weeks afterwards, not jumping 4 months.
Yeah,
later,
I don't know.
4
I don't
weeks
know
later.
about that. It's hard for us since we're not like doctors. But if this is really a 6-week injury,
a theory,
then
a whirl.
if this is a 6-week injury, then it's more likely he suffered some sort of a tear, not a strain. Anyways,
Seriously, something serious.
let's talk about the Grizzlies. Conley and Gasol apparently are on the trade block. They're welcoming offers.
The face of the franchise, especially Gasol. And, this is hard to believe because not too long ago, this team was on the top of the seeding in the Western Conference. Now they're on the way bottom, not even 20 wins. And this begs the question, is this the team's acceptance of failure for the season?
Say that one more time.
We were talking about like how they were up in the Western Conference not too long ago, and now they're on the very bottom.
Yeah, this team is definitely going in the wrong direction. Their start to the season was, a flash in the pan. They were hot, but they're 1-9 in their last 10. I think they've won 3 games of their last 20. Like this team is just going down.
And this is my question to you. And this is accepting a rebuild period for them?
Absolutely. They're looking to build around Jaren Jackson Jr., their first round pick, and he looks good. Like I have to say, that kid looks promising. I like what I see from him. So I get it. We just talked about this team. I think Mike Conley would be a really good fit with the Lakers because he could provide some shooting. He can provide another option for LeBron. That's what I think the Lakers are missing is shooting from the point guard position. Lonzo and Rondo are not shooters. And I think the Lakers would really benefit from somebody who can score a little bit more, other than a Kuzma type of player. So maybe he's a fit there. Other than that, it's hard to tell where these players will fit in elsewhere and what they will get for
You
them.
never really know how they're going to fit into any team, really.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
You can only assume.
Doesn't Marc Gasol feel like a Spurs player? Him and Powell could just play.
Brothers playing together? Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
He just feels like a Spursy player,
But will the Spurs even go for him is the question.
Even Conley. I could see if both these players go to the Spurs, it would make sense, right?
But who are you giving up?
Oh, I don't think it'll happen. I'm just saying, like, I could see the fit,
Yeah, of course. And, well, honestly, we can say these two could fit almost anywhere because they're very talented players still. But I think the fact of the matter is what are they looking for in return? Because we really don't know what they're really expecting.
I mean, I would assume that they're looking for lottery picks, which I don't think they'll get. Maybe for Conley. Gasol's too old.
But it's going to be protected. I don't think they're getting an unprotected draft pick.
But Conley, I think, would get more back than Gasol because Gasol's older.
If only Billy King was still a general manager somewhere.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the upcoming games this weekend, though. What do you think about that?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to shoot these at you.
Shoot. Fire at will.
So Thursday, that's tomorrow. I had T-Wolves.
Thursday's today, dude.
Sorry, tonight. I meant tonight, not tomorrow.
Woof. Long week.
T-Wolves, it should be Friday already. But anyways, T-Wolves at Lakers. I know that it takes a lot of the luster away because I was assuming that LeBron was going to play. But it's still a big game in terms of playoff seedings. They're both right on the cusp.
They're, I think, 8 and 9.
8, 9, or 8 and 10. Or no,
I believe
the Lakers are
Kings are
9th.
10.
The Lakers are 9th, and the T-Wolves are 11th.
Okay.
They're all right there, though.
Yeah.
Pelicans at Thunder tonight.
Okay. Interesting.
It's a big game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me tell you, tomorrow. This is for sure tomorrow, Friday.
Yes.
Raptors at Rockets.
I like that. Can Harden continue his streak against Kawhi
Is this the
Leonard?
game that he doesn't? Will Kawhi play? Because he's been out for 3 games. I think he'll play.
I think he'll play, too. I
Does
think this is the game
Kawhi
he's
lock
to
up Harden? I want to see it. I want to see it.
Honestly, there's a good chance.
Is this the game where he doesn't get 30?
We can both agree Kawhi is a top 5 defender in the league. And so I think he could stop him, but will he?
Mm-hmm.
But will he even play? We don't even know.
T-Wolves also are at the Jazz tomorrow night, so a tough game back-to-back for T-Wolves. They go
Lakers in Utah, huh?
And then they got to deal with the elevation in Utah, which it is a thing. So that's tough. How about Saturday, though? You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Spurs at Pelicans. Good game.
Aldridge versus Davis. I like it.
Warriors at Celtics.
Possible finals matchup.
76ers at Nuggets. Whew.
Another potential finals matchup.
That one would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's some good games. Okay. So you ready for Sunday? 'Cause it
Yes.
gets good. Sunday's good, too.
Sunday.
Bucks at Thunder.
Ooh, I like it.
Jazz are at T-Wolves, so tough weekend for the T-Wolves.
So they play
coming up.
back-to-back.
The Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Clippers.
Both teams fighting for a spot in the Western Conference playoffs.
Clippers, I believe, are 8th right now, and the Kings are 10th.
Yeah. A surprising Kings team versus
And
a surprising
then
Clippers
Monday,
team.
Warriors at Pacers.
You know, if Oladipo was still playing, this would be a more interesting matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but prove me wrong, please.
I agree with that. But yeah, those are some good games coming up, man. I feel like this is a really big weekend.
Those are a lot of playoff indications in those games.
All right, well, that's our show today. Join us on Tuesday. We'll be back. We're going to cover, obviously, I'm sure we have a lot to talk about from these games that are upcoming this weekend. Join us. We want to have a discussion on, we'll see, man, I'm really excited to see what the Nuggets do against 76ers. I think that might be my sneaky game of the weekend, to be honest with you, because it might be a little bit under the radar, but, man, I really want to see what these teams do against each other. So we'll see.
Yes, I do. I do too. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you on Tuesday. Have a good day, everybody.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.